What's up, guys? Welcome back to Between the Pylons. I'm John Camacho. Thank you so much for watching. And guys, today we are talking about Nico Collins, wide receiver out of Michigan. And guys, I'm not going to bury the lead. This is a top 10 wide receiver for me in this class. I really believe that. And I'm going to get into the breakdown and all the other things that goes along with it later on in this video. But let's just break down the physical stature and the stats real quick. Pull up the graphic here. And we're talking about a guy who is 6'4", 215 pounds. This is a big-bodied physical receiver. This is your 50-50 guy. This is your down the field, Alshon Jeffrey style type of receiver, right? 78 receptions for 1,388 yards and 13 touchdowns, and he was an opt-out guy, so he missed all of the 2020 season. So we're basing all of this on the 2019 film, and I really liked what I saw. I watched him a little bit leading up from last year's class because I was a big fan of Donovan Peoples-Jones, and I obviously saw some crossover film there, so I knew I had a good feel for how much I was gonna like him, or at least certainly knew that I was a fan of certain aspects of his game going into watching this dude, but I had no idea how much I was gonna like him. Let's break him down right now with the skill chart. Route running at a 5.3, I certainly think he could stand to add some more intricate technique. I do think at the top of his route, it can get a little bit sloppy at times, but overall, I'm fine with it. There wasn't, I'm going to skip over to route tree here just for a second at a 4. He didn't have an expansive route tree, and the route running in general, it's not special, but I would say it's pretty meh for what you're getting out of these college guys at a 5.3. That's my, I'm good with it. It's not something that bothers me at all. It's something that I think, definitely is going to need work at the next level. He's going to have to put time into it. But you got to remember, I'm watching all 2019 film. So it's going to be almost 2 years from the time he suits up in an NFL uniform, 2 years since the last time he's put anything on tape that I've seen anyway. So he's had a lot of time to work on this and refine this in a lot of ways, right? Hands at a 6.5. This is almost an elite grade. I mean, he plucks the ball out of the air, right? And the only reason it's not elite, and it really has nothing to do with him, he just didn't get a ton of targets from the games that I watched, so I couldn't really be like, man, this dude catches everything. But he catches damn near everything. I mean, he's got great hands. It's a very, very plus trait for him, and I'm very, very excited about it. I think, this is a guy who's certainly going to win those 50-50 balls. We're going to get into contested catch later on, and I'll talk about that. But athleticism at a 7.3, dude is a elite athlete in my mind, all right? And I get that, the production wasn't quite where you would like it to be. This isn't like a huge name or anything like that. I don't care. Athleticism is athleticism regardless of the ball's getting to you or being thrown at you. I blame the quarterback, and I know I'm going to repeat myself, but I blame the quarterback for a lot of the reason this dude wasn't getting the targets he deserved. He was open a lot, and it just didn't get thrown his way. He's a physical freak, in my opinion. At 6'4", 215, 220 pounds, whatever he's going to play in the NFL, dude ran a 4.43 at his pro day. And I looked this up, and I don't usually care about pro days or anything, but for these bigger guys, honestly, I don't care about the final number, but if he's running a 4.43 in a hand time, it's probably going to be 4.5 fast, and I think he shows that on film. His explosiveness off the line is legit. All of those things are very, very plus grades for me. I'm good with it. Quickness at a 3.5. Yeah, that's not what he's going to be. This is a negative grade, obviously. Yeah, this isn't a guy that you're throwing the ball and say, hey, create yards. No, it's not. That's not what he's going to be. This is your traditional downfield wide receiver. This is not, kind of honestly where the NFL is going with a lot of these gadgety guys who can get the ball in space in a million different ways, and they can create. Yeah, that's not really what you're asking Nico Collins to do. And that doesn't make him a bad receiver or a bad prospect. I will say I do think it takes down his first round potential. As much as I like this guy and as much as I certainly believe he will be a day 2 pick, there's no realm where he gets drafted in the first round, in my opinion, because the quickness isn't quite there, and the variety in which you can use him isn't quite what you would like it to be. He is a specific style of receiver. He could be your big slot if you needed him to be, but more likely he's going to be playing on the outside and being your traditional X. Contested catch at a 7.6, again, elite grade. He's so good at this. I mean, he plucks the ball out of the air. It's a cliche cliche now, but I'll say it anyway. He makes 50-50 balls look like 80-20 balls. I mean, he brings those balls in. He will be, he's got that to a science. Yak at a 3.8. First of all, I mentioned it already with quickness. He's not a guy you're getting in the space and saying, hey, what can you create? But also, like, he wasn't given the opportunity a lot. Like, a lot of times when corners were playing off man, right, they were kind of giving him space because they were afraid of his speed down the field, and they were definitely scared of what he could do to some of these corners. What did Michigan do? Well, they make him run a 3-yard cutback. Like, they would pick you apart if you were going to play too far off of him, right? And that worked out a good bit of time. But honestly, even when that happened, the throw was still not accurate enough for it to even matter. And I know that's like mean or whatever. I don't care. I mean, it is what it is. He got screwed by his quarterback a lot. There was plenty of times where it was like, oh, a well-placed ball, and he might have had a chance to do something with that. So I do blame it a little bit on that, but also, that's not what he is, again, so it's fine at a 3.8 negative grade, but I think you move on. Cut and change of direction. For me, this is, how does he cut out of breaks and things like that? I definitely think there certainly could be, I mentioned in route running, there certainly could be some like smoother cuts at the top of his route, maybe like those 20-yard posts, like those deep post routes and things like that. Do I think there could be maybe more suddenness at the top of his route sometimes? Yeah, and that would maybe get this cut at this grade up into a next level echelon of grade for me. But overall, he's fine. He athletically very gifted, so things like this you're not really worried about. Route tree, I mentioned, just limited route tree in general, so you can't really get super excited about that. Contact balance, that's what you want to see. You don't want to see these big guys getting bumped around. 7.9. Yeah, he doesn't get he beats corners up. It does not happen the other way around. He is a punishing corner, and he makes guys work. All right, so I fully believe in that. Body control, 7.8. Again, another elite grade. Look, he's to me, he is an elite prospect from the downfield 50-50 ball perspective, right? I believe he's elite in all these traits, right? Contested catch, body control, contact balance. Those are all, things that go into that, and all of those grades for me are in the 7s, and 7 and above for me is an elite grade. So I'm very, very high on that aspect of his game. Release at a 5.6, again, good grade. He's very explosive out of his breaks, so all good there. So when it comes to separation, I think with improved route running, he's certainly going to get better at creating more separation, but his pure athletic profile already lends itself to being able to separate, and he did it a ton, and just the ball was never thrown anywhere near him, or he wasn't even looked at on certain plays. So I'm good with it at a 5.3. Can be higher for sure, but overall positive grade. And then blocking, he's a tenacious blocker. Checks the box, and it's actually very, very good. So if you're a team that really values blocking from your wide receiver, I don't think that's going to dissuade you from taking him at all. Overall, I think we're talking about a receiver who's three things. He's big, strong, and fast. What else do you want? And for me, guys, Nico Collins is a top 10 receiver in this class. To me, he comes in at number 8 on my rankings right now. My rankings are subject to change a little bit, but right now, like, he's above a Rashad Bateman. And I did a video on Rashad Bateman and kind of explained why I'm not quite as high on him. And there's, I think, good reason for why Nico is higher. It's close though, I will say. He's in that same tier as like an Amon-Ra St. Brown, which I've done a video on very early on in this draft season. You can go check that out as well. So that's kind of like the range I see him in. I certainly believe, like, locked and loaded, slam dunk, second round pick to me. Like, to me, he's gonna go somewhere in that range, and maybe he falls into that third round because just the right team just doesn't value the style of receiver that he is, and I totally understand that. Look, I mentioned it already, and I'll say it again just to kind of wrap this up. Like, there's a reason there is no chance of him sneaking into the first round, in my opinion, right? There's a chance of other guys in this class that I might even grade lower than him sneaking into the first round because of speed and athleticism and quickness and agility and that gadget type of guy, that hybrid guy that you can just get the ball in space and make moves. And that's not what Nico Collins is, and therefore I think that just takes away his upside in the first round, right? And because of that, because of the style of receiver that he is, because of like the lack of quickness, I think he's going to end up being a really, really good second round pick that a lot of people sleep on, and that, is probably going to go in and at the worst be the wide receiver 2 on a team for a very long time and be very, very productive in the NFL. I'm really high on this guy. I'm very excited to see what happens to him. Guys, thank you so much for watching. If there is a draft profile that you would like me to do on a specific player, hey, leave it in the comments. Let me know. I can't promise I'll get to it right away, but at this point, I can still promise that I will get to it, all right? And we're getting close to the draft, so I can't promise that for much longer. So get it in as quickly as you can, and I will definitely get to it. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Please consider hitting that like button. Consider subscribing if you enjoy the content. See you next time. Peace.